But you're not in there. That's not a push-up. That's a tummy up. You gotta bend your arms, kid. Here, try it with your knees. Yes. Do push-up, just like that. Honestly, I don't know if I do it right, to be honest with you. I'm super excited about this video. I finally pulled the trigger and got my daughter proper professional coaching. Normally I'm not allowed to have cameras in this facility. You have to do a private session, and those are super expensive. The gym's super expensive, and that's why I was holding off on getting her training there. But her and I've been training together, and I've pretty much taught her everything I know, and you know, she's learning as I'm learning. I'm in a lot of ways very much a beginner myself. So her and I are going to be going here a few times a week. We're going to be training together. It's an interesting gym because they have they're open twice a day for the public, if you will, memberships, and you can request trainers to work with you one-on-one. And then they have off hours in between those, and those are private sessions, and that's usually when the professional teams come in, and that's when you see all the fancy people that actually are pugilists for profession, yeah, things of that nature. Like, one of the things the coach said is that my daughter is one of the best he's ever seen walk through the doors at her age. And keep in mind, a lot of kids come in there untrained, so I mean, that's an advantage. It's just her doing any work with me is going to put her at an advantage. But he said that she's really, really good. Like he wanted her to come back. He was begging me to bring her back. He seems to think that he can, if she's inclined, she can become a champion. And what I love about this coach, now, he's just got away with people. It's interesting. As a professional, and I try to work with people professionally the way he does it so naturally. He's just got a gift. And I was watching him, and it's not the way he criticizes or corrects you or tells you you're doing something wrong, but it's the way he builds you back up when you do something right. And that's something all of us can learn from, and it's something I want to incorporate in my own training style when I'm working with people. That's a gift. It's a real gift, because I was watching Della. She, with me, she gets frustrated and she gets down, and I'm like, oh, I'm being too hard on her. But with him, whenever she did something right, he would get her excited and she'd be motivated to keep going. And I was like, man, I was really paying attention to him. He's got a gift for sure. This guy's really, really good. And you could tell, like, he's worked with like Manny Pacquiao and some other professionals that he had on the wall, and he was showing me his lineage, and he's a really, really good coach. I really like this guy. He's a little pricey. This is going to cost me more than it costs for both of my automobiles and my insurance. I think for the whole family it's like $400 a month. But hey, you get what you pay for.
Chicken.
What do you got there?
House chicken.
What's her name?
Flair.
So what did you think about today's training?
It was awesome.
Get in the camera. What did you think about the coach?
He was really nice.
Do you think was he better than Daddy? Probably better than Daddy, huh?
I mean, it was the basics like you taught me, but he seems really dedicated.
Yeah, he helped Daddy out quite a bit. So, you're excited to keep going?
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll stick with it?
Probably.
I hope you do, because you're really good at it. Everybody says you're so good at it, but you're into so many different things. Only you can decide if you stick with it. But I'm going to be going, so that's something we can do together.
I most likely will be going.
All right. She's definitely better than me, for sure. I might have more experience, and I might be a little tiny bit bigger. Just a hair. But, yeah. Well, cool, man. We will, tomorrow night. If not, we'll have to wait till Monday. All right.
House chicken.
Honestly, that's the big thing. At the end of the day, you can encourage your kids, and I want to try expose them to as many things as possible and get them doing everything I do and whatever they're into. But at the end of the day, like I don't want to force them to participate in anything, so it's up to them if they want to choose. And I hope she sticks with it because she's really good, but she also wants to do gymnastics and dancing and a whole bunch of other stuff. Man, this kid, mom's got her into way too much stuff. I can't keep up. And she's, mom said, is this another thing we're going to be paying for? I'm like, well, you pick all the rest of the stuff. You got her in Girl Scouts and gymnastics and dancing and who knows what else. It's like dad and daughter. And the argument is, well, we got the bag in the back. They're just training in the garage for free. I'm like, yeah, but I need training too. You know what I mean? I'm not getting any better myself. And this guy's really good. I'm super excited about having something that I can do with the kids and the family. And I really love this coach. I wanted to touch on that. It's the reason why. You ever notice that we get down on each other, especially the people that you live with? The old saying, familiarity breeds contempt. In our day-to-day, it's really easy to, when we come home and we're just chilling and everything's good, you don't really notice things that are good. You're in your little world. You don't maybe not notice like somebody took the extra time to clean up the kitchen or mop the floors or take the trash out or do all the little things that we do to maintain a house. And you have to remember to thank people. And I've often wondered, like, we always point out when things are bad. And and my wife even said that. She's like, you always say when things are bad, but you never say when things are good. I was like, yeah, we have a tendency to do that. And I think the reason is because when things are good and there's an equilibrium and we're all just zoned out and doing our thing, that stuff doesn't have our attention. But when things are bad, it has our attention, and we want to rectify that bad thing as soon as possible. So it can often seem, especially when you're in a family with kids and the house is chaotic and it requires constant upkeep, or if you're in a job where your role is to fix problems, it's easy to point the problems out because that's your job. You're supposed to notice the problems and fix it. And guys can think like, if that's all you do is point out the wrong, they see you coming and they're like, oh, this motherfucker. And same thing at home. It's like, oh, all you ever do is yell at me. I hear that a lot. I have to tell you 10 times. But we forget to point out when things are good. Because when things are good, they just doesn't have our attention. It's like we can go back to zoning out and being in our own little world. What I loved about this coach is he had an amazing way of telling you you're doing it wrong and this is how you need to do it, but then building you back up again. Now, I don't need that. You can just straight up tell me, you suck, don't do it like that. And I'm like, all right. And then, I fix it. But with kids, they get really easily disheartened and it makes them want to quit. Well, with him, I noticed when he would correct my daughter and she would immediately, be a little down, but then he would, as soon as she did it right, he had a way of just like really getting her excited about it. And then I saw something that I haven't been able to accomplish as a father. She was super motivated to keep going. Wow. And I'm taking notes as a dad. I'm like, oh, okay, I just want to see what you did there. You know what I mean? And I try to be encouraging. Like, I asked my daughter, do you have fun when you train with Daddy? She's like, yeah, you're a lot of fun. But we do. We have when we get frustrated, sometimes she'll want to quit. And what I will do is I'll say, well, okay, this isn't working today. You want to do something else? You just have some fun, do some sparring, whatever. And she'll say, yeah. But I noticed with him, he was able to keep the lesson going because he had a way of building them back up again. And I thought that's a really, really, that's the kind of skill I want to cultivate as a father, as a manager, just as a man in general. It's just that not only being calm and assertive and decisive and able to, confront people, but also build them back up again, be encouraging, be somebody like a mentor, somebody that they want to be around. That's always been my goal. And I didn't have that as a kid, and, I'm not going to do, childhood. But a lot of us didn't. And that's not normal for people to be encouraging for the reasons that I mentioned. But what I'm saying is, if that's something that we focus on, your loved ones tonight, after you watch this video, just look around the house, and maybe if somebody put a little extra effort in and did something, like say, hey, you know what, I noticed you cleaned the kitchen today, sweetheart. I really appreciate that, thank you. Or so, you folded the laundry. I mean, I really love it when you do that. It makes my day easier. Just little things like that. You'd be surprised, because they usually look at you like, what's wrong with you? You're like, what do you want? You say something encouraging, they just assume you want something. If that's the case, you're not doing it right. You know what I mean? Hey, we're all works in progress. Nobody's perfect. Now, I've had a rough couple of days, so unfortunately, I kind of let my comments section get a little bit behind. And I tried to reach out to a couple of people to let them know that I'm still here. I'm not ignoring you guys. I went through a little mini depression, and I do that. I suffer from clinical depression. So what used to take weeks, days to get out of a funk, now, it's, an afternoon, maybe an evening, a morning. I get a little down on myself, and I'll unplug, and I won't get online. I won't comment. I might post a video, but I won't get online and check the comments. I don't want to deal with anybody. I don't want to talk to anyone. But I have really, I'm able to kick myself out of that. If you're like me and you suffer from clinical depression, which is not uncommon with alcoholics and drug addicts, it's okay. Like, what I've found for me, what works really well is it can be very comfortable to be in that low place. And I'm saying it's good for you, but there's a comfort to it. And that's part of the disease. It can be really, it's like you're in your shell, and you lock yourself away from the world. And what I will do now is I'll allow myself to stay there for a minute and just enjoy that warm blanket of my despair and my disdain and my anger and my resentment and all that crap that I want to wallow in like a pig. But then I'll kick my butt out of it. And luckily, it helps to have a family around you that are like, Dad, what are you doing? You've been locked in the garage for 18 hours. You know what I mean? They won't. If I lived alone, I don't know what this would look like. Thank God I have people around me that give a crap. But one of my problems is I don't like to reach out. And then the people I care about, it can kind of seem like I don't care about them. Like I'm only in it for me, and I don't answer comments, and that's something I need to work on. But understand, like I do, I'm still reading them all and getting to them. So if you left a comment and I have not answered you yet, I'm getting to you, I promise. For all my Warhammer and nerd culture people, when I get like this, I find it stifles my creativity, so I have a hard time coming up with drawings. I'll put the pad there and I'll just stare at it. I can't think of anything just because it's just something about being in that place. I have some awesome artwork that I'm starting, and I will be doing some drawings here, and of course I'm going to finish painting my Outriders. So we have some videos coming up for you guys. Gotta go back and forth, man. They said you should have 2 separate channels, fitness and Warhammer. Separate the two, or nerd culture, we'll say, because I also have some thoughts on the new Star Wars I wanted to talk about. But I don't think so. I think that really what this channel is really turning into is just me. And I am all of the above. But I try to spread things out equally. So, without further ado, let's look at some of these comments that I have not gotten around to. Alright, the first comment is from Ego Lift Daily. You've got a lot of comments, and I am reading them. I kind of went dark there for a minute, so... but this one, stupid Marine forgot spotter arms and almost suffocated in bench press a month or so ago. I posted me pinning myself on my rack, and he writes, can't believe this, you're just first seeing this. OMG, I believe this is a sign God still has a mission for you on Earth, boss. That was unbelievable how you survived that. Yeah, that was real. If you guys go back and watch that video, I was panicking. WTF, that was absolutely frightening, while also absolutely amazing how you survived that one. For a second, when I realized nobody could hear me, and I was stuck there, and there was no one that was going to get me out of it, I kind of dug deep and was able to wrench myself out of it. See, I thought I had the spotter arms set there, so I set the weight down thinking the spotter arms were there, So if I didn't have spotter arms, I would have set the weight gently down on my chest and rocked it off of me. But because I thought they were there, I set it down. So I slammed it into my neck. Holy shit. If it wasn't for the camber on the bar, oh man, I don't even, there's so many things that are like, what if? And I have a little bit of PTSD because of that. I'm still scared to go without a spotter, even, and I find myself double, triple checking the spotter arms. You know, it just changed the way I'm lifting for sure. Then he writes, if I may quip, you are the legendary Iron Neck boss. Iron Body Kung Fu masters will envy you. You know, I do have a pretty strong neck. I don't know how it didn't damage my windpipe. I don't know a lot of things. I don't know. It should have broke my neck because my head was on above the bench. It should have crushed my windpipe, and it should have suffocated me. But it didn't. And it's not something I take for granted. Like, I go back and watch that video and I'm just like, wow. You know, I'm all of those things they warned you about. And I was compelled to post it, and people were like, well, if you post it, everybody's going to give you a ration of crap. And I said, I didn't care. I said, this is stuff people need to see. Like, this is a dangerous sport we participate in. Boxing is dangerous. Weightlifting is dangerous. Hell, rollerblading is dangerous. You know, I was going down a hill with my daughter, and there's oncoming traffic, and even though there's a bike lane, I'm just thinking, like, you know, I'm just saying, look, tomorrow's promised to nobody. And there's no such thing as a 100% safe activity. There's no such thing as a 100% safe drug. There's no, you know what I mean? Like everything in the right amount can kill you, and any situation can turn deadly under the right circumstances. You know, you want to talk about like the guys that go outside and get hit by lightning. Or some of the freak car accidents. There was reading about one where a lady's driving home, minding her own business, and someone flies across the median and front-end collision that took her head off. And it's just like, you know, you read things like that, and it's like, it's just, that's how quick it can happen. You know, in an instant, your whole life can change. But I have this weird theory. You tell me that this is crazy. Okay. Tinfoil hats, people. As a drug addict, there was a couple of times where I wound up in the back of an ambulance. And I had thought, I know this is going to sound nuts, but bear with me. Because it was right about the time, I want to say 2010, when things started getting crazy in this world. And I had drank, no, it was before that. I want to say 2005. That's when this happened. So it was a little earlier than that. But it was right after that is when things started getting cuckoo with Facebook. And, you know, that's when the identity politics thing started to creep in there. And, like, you know, democracy. They started talking about communism and socialism in America. And just, like, all this crazy spinach is poison all of a sudden. You know, just like the world's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I was like, did I die and wind up in an alternate universe? You know, there's this incident where I drank cologne. That's how bad of an alcoholic I was. I was at home, and the wife had taken all the alcohol out of the house. And I was going through withdrawals, so I was really sick. I probably should have went to a rehab, but I didn't. And I was up in the bathroom trying to take a shower, and I saw a bottle of cologne in there. And I don't know what possessed me to drink it, but I did. And I almost immediately felt better. And I was thinking, well, this stuff's not that. And then the next thing I remember, I woke up in the back of an ambulance. She told me that I had passed out in the shower and I was drowning in cold water, and she couldn't get me out of the tub, and they had to call the ambulance, and I had to go upstairs, and it took like 4 people to get me into the ambulance, and it was this huge ordeal. All I remember was taking a couple sips of this stuff and then waking up in an ambulance. I have a theory that I died and I woke up in a slightly altered universe, like the next universe over. Like, if there's multiple universes where every iteration of us exists, and like we've done everything, like we just jump. You actually do die when you think you did, and by some miracle you survived, and you're still here. And I think that we actually do die, but then we jump to that next universe where we survived, and we continue living our lives out until all of our combined lives pass away. I know that sounds nuts. I know that sounds nuts, but I just remember, like, before that, the world was normal. Like, freedom, veterans were cool. Like, we loved America. Everything was awesome. You could love boobs and naked chicks, and everything was great. And now everything's like gay and like straight is bad, and like I don't know, everything's about racism. And I don't I woke up in a wacky universe, and I think like that's what happened is I passed away and I woke up in an alternate universe where things are slightly freaking weird, and now people want communism in America. Like, you just saying that sentence out loud, there's like World War II veterans that are like poking holes through their graves and coming out like zombies. Like, you just, what? We fought them for how long? And you think that's a good idea? Like, how did we get here? How did this happen? How did Star Wars turn into what it is? So I know that's a weird theory, but if you think about it, Elon Musk, he was talking about something real similar, and it's possible. So my point being is I might have died on that bench. I might have actually crushed my windpipe and passed away, and then jumped over to the next alternate universe where now all of a sudden my boss is mad at me and I've got problems at work. Right? I had no issues for how long, and now all of a sudden I'm having problems? When did that happen? We were friends before then. See? Everything's the same except for one tiny little thing, Telling you guys. Well, crap. I rambled too long and I only had time for one comment, so sorry. But hey, I'm going to get to the rest of them. We'll do a respond to comments video. I'm going to be doing more Warhammer. I'm going to be doing more artwork, so stay tuned for that. I love you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this. I had a blast with my daughter. It was just so much fun. And we'll see you guys on the battlefield.